Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Let's take a look at the defensive back results for our mock draft 12 teams that we had here. Defensive backs in this mock draft, you had to start 2 safeties and 2 cornerbacks, and the scoring rules for these is going to be that you had, if you had 3 tackles, doesn't matter if it's solo or not, you had 2 points. Sacks were 2 points, interceptions 3 points, forced fumbles 3 points, and so on and so forth. So this wasn't necessarily, again, a tackle-heavy draft. It wasn't really a big play, somewhat more of a big play league, yes. But we have our listings here available. There wasn't a defensive back that was taken until the 7th round. I think that's pretty typical. Troy Polamalu was taken up there with Charles Woodson and Antoine Winfield. That was ridiculous. But again, as we mentioned in the main podcast for the main mock draft, the overall one for this, you do tend to have people that draft by the names that they know and not necessarily by who's the best players to take. So, yeah, we saw Antoine Winfield, we saw Charles Woodson. They were cornerbacks, but they went first in this draft. Darrelle Revis was actually still a top 6 pick. He went in the 9th round. So that'll be interesting. That's a gamble. If you're going to take a guy like Darrelle Revis, you're gambling that he's going to be back in the season. I would think you're gambling definitely that he's going to be back week 1 against the Ravens. So if he's not, I mean, this next week or two, I know that they've been quiet about the contract talks now, so maybe they're trying to get down to business and get something done. But at this point in time, we just haven't seen him hit the field, obviously, so that is a concern there. A guy like Tavion Branch, the Raiders star safety who came out, broke out, had a lot of tackles. Obviously, a guy like that, he can get hurt a little bit in this type of league. I think he should have went better than 19th round in this draft. I probably would have taken him myself, but I had already had a couple of guys already. And in this draft, when you're talking about taking 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends, well, anyway, you're starting 19 guys, so you have to fill a roster there. And that's just something you have to think about. So for him, I thought that was pretty low. LaRon Landry also went in that round, and that was, LaRon, I think, is a guy who's definitely got upside for this season. So keep an eye on him. But that's pretty much our updates right now. You can take a look at these names. Again, if you don't see that, if you're on YouTube or whatnot, podcast out there, you can go back. There should be a link right there next to this podcast, and it can take you back to the article where this information is available for you to see.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy football with your free subscription.